Hi and welcome to Tabletop Gaming. My name is Charlie and we are the publishers of the Tabletop Gaming magazine, which is a monthly mag full of all cool things, board games, card games, trading card games, RPGs and beyond. You should go check that out. But today we are here because the force is with us. It is time for us to count down a good few Star Wars games. I'm very excited, but I want to know your favourite ones in the comments. In at number 1 in a list that is not in order is Star Wars Shatterpoint. Now this is this is my version of the game. I'm very, very excited to open this. So excited that I wanted to make a list of it first. I have played this at conventions and I have absolutely fallen in love with it. This is a skirmish game, right? So you're playing with miniatures, which by the by means that you get to have your cool characters on tabletop in front of you and oh boy, they look good. But it also means it's capturing a lot of the frenetic energy that exists within things like the Clone Wars. So this feels like it plays a dedication to the cartoon series that exist rather than just the films. The films get a lot of love. This is talking about how other people are coming into the franchise now. Because sure, I may have come in at the prequels, but nowadays the things that people are coming in on are things like the Clone Wars. And that's very, very exciting. And they are great series on their own. So having something that mimics the very quick shooting energy between the two and the change of things and getting to the point where you're going, this is the plan. The plan has fallen apart. What do we do now is something that Shatterpoint tries to mimic. And it does so beautifully. Being a miniatures game, I think sometimes can feel that it's going to be intimidating, and certainly the idea of putting together miniatures is another step, right? But worth it to play the game. I would recommend go have a play. Although before you do, just look at how cool these are. We're opening this soon. Bear with us. Number 2 is another favourite of mine, and it is Star Wars Unlimited. I like a trading card game anyway, but Star Wars ticks every single box for me, and that is because we have beautiful artwork. We have our guys over here in this very retro vibe. It reminds you of the original trilogy posters, and that's something that's great in the first place, but it also means you can play with all of the characters that you love, and with 9 sets supposedly already planned out and already created on the horizon, having the ability to play across multiple different time periods and favourites and different styles of characters is very, very fun. So I said this is a trading card game and I was telling the truth. What you're going to be doing is playing across 2 different fields. So you're playing from the ground, you're playing from the sky, and you will have a leader card who is going to be one of your cool kids. So you're talking your Lukes, your Leias, your Darth Vaders, your Boba Fett's. All of those are more likely to be your leader cards. And once per your game, they can do something quite incredible. They come into the field with a real flourish and they give you certain opportunities. And it feels like that moment when like Darth Vader appears in the corridor and it's like, oh, wow, this character has entered the fray. It also plays, so across those 2 bases, you also have your leader and you have your base. And you're going to try and defend your base whilst attacking your opponent's base in the hope that you get theirs to 0 first. If you do that, you have won. Great job. But play takes place as action at a time. So many trading card games will see you playing all of your actions in your turn and then passing to your opponent. This one is very much you take an action, they take an action, you take an action, they take an action. And again, we're mimicking cinematography. We're going back and forward between what's happening and what's going on, and we've got things happening in the sky and we've got things happening on the ground, all happening simultaneously on this one attack embodied in a card game. And you know what? It's just great fun. Go buy the starter set. Following that up with what I refer to as the table hog in our household. I have not brought it in because it is big and I would want to set it up and it would take up a lot of space, but I'll post you some pictures. This, of course, is Star Wars Rebellion. Now, Star Wars Rebellion is one of those that is a classic. It is such a impeccable game of trying to find where the rebellion is hidden whilst you're playing against, it's very like asymmetric. You're playing in the roles that you want to play. Admittedly, because it is also a very long game and quite a chunky one too, in terms of you're going to need to sit and read the rulebook for a while until you can get going. And there is a long-standing joke in my house that it is just prepare to lose a day's worth of reminding yourself how to play if you've not played for a long time. I don't think that's necessarily true. It's a lot quicker than that, but you are going to be playing for a long time. It is a table hog of a game, but it is a beautiful game. And not least, it's also got some great miniatures in, which are really nice to see because you're like, yeah, this is actually what I'm playing with. Super quick interlude. If you want to hear about most of the games that I'm listing today, you want to check out one of our previous issues, which is a Star Wars themed issue. It has everything that you might need, from interviews with Mike Mulvihill, you'll hear about him in a second. We've got focus on Star Wars Unlimited. We've got huge focus on Star Wars Shatterpoint. If you like Star Wars and you like gaming, this issue. Speaking of miniatures, we're going to move on to Star Wars X-Wing. I think it's very easy sometimes to have games in the Star Wars franchise that focus on the characters, and ultimately, yeah, we want to focus on the characters. They're the ones that we know and love. But there is so much to the Star Wars world that if we could have a look at things like what's happening in space, what's the ships fighting against other ships, that in itself is a cool idea and a fun thing to play through. And that's what Star Wars X-Wing does. Of course, it is now with Atomic Mass Games, who also do Shatterpoint, obviously number one on my list, but it means that you get these beautifully intricate miniatures that mean that when you're playing the game, you have a full immersive experience to be able to see the things that you love in the Star Wars franchise really come to life. Last on my quick list, I'm going in with Star Wars Villainous. It is a very different game to all of the ones that I've mentioned previously. It is obviously a lot more family friendly. If you're aware of the Villainous range, it is basically, what if the bad guys of Disney films were trying to get their own way? How would that play out? Everyone plays asymmetrically. You're trying to mess with other people's plans, but you're trying to make yourself have a great plan. And it will be things like collecting the right number of lightsabers for General Grievous. It will be those, but you're playing as the characters that don't get that, like, it's good to be bad, right? The villains are always the most fun to play with, and Star Wars Villainous lets you do that. They have a standalone expansion pack, which means you can play with Boba Fett again. Wonderful, very, very happy. But even the core set is great. You've got things like Asajj Ventress in there. That's not standard Star Wars. You couldn't say that to people and then go, yeah, no, cool. It sometimes doesn't get its due as because it's a villainous game, people go, I know that, and that's going to be easy because it's Disney and it's this. It's very strategic, it's very fun, and it also taps perfectly into that Star Wars vibe made by people who love Star Wars, and that's always going to make the game better. Now, I could go on about Star Wars games for a very, very long time. I've not touched Star Wars Armada, I've not touched Star Wars Legion, I've not talked about, not that I've ever played, but the Queen's Gambit. It's a big deal. Never played it. There are so many Star Wars games out there. I want to hear your favourites in the comments, but I hope that you love the games that I've listed as much as I do. As always, thank you so much for watching. May the Force be with you guys, and I'll see you next time.